everyone. Well, I am super excited to share this presentation with all of you. This was actually an idea that I had coming into my PhD program, and so to see it go all the way through is really exciting. Hopefully it'll be published soon, we'll see. But I'm really grateful to my co-advisors, Dr. Megan Vendemia and Dr. Rebecca Tukachinsky-Forster, for all of their help and guidance on my program and also on this project in particular. I learned so much, and I can't wait to share it with you because I think it's really exciting. So here we go. To set the scene, pornography use is prevalent and rampant, not only in the United States, but worldwide. And there's one popular pornographic content site, Pornhub, that in 2021, they reported 130 million users, unique users, every day. So let that set in for a second, and that's just one platform, right? So it's very accessible, and due to this widespread accessibility and prevalence, there's been a cultural normalization of pornography use just kind of in daily life. Research done by Ryan in 2019 and Tyson and colleagues in 2015 indicates that numerous YouTube-esque porn sites have now emerged that not only encourage just passive use, which was typical in a couple years prior, but now encourages kind of active use where they encourage user subscription, so platforms like OnlyFans. And these platforms give individuals the ability to comment, interact, and even pay and request certain content from specific porn stars. So this trend is also shown in statistics released by Pornhub in 2022, which indicates that users are seeking out specific porn stars. So this last year, the top porn star, Abella Danger, had 1.6 billion video views just in that year. So these features may afford users the opportunity to form parasocial romantic relationships or even potentially attachments with these porn actresses, which is the context that we were really curious to study in this study. So for this particular study, I zoned in on heterosexual women. You may be asking why. Well, the research indicates that for heterosexual women, their partner's pornography use can trigger experiences of jealousy and feelings of betrayal or even infidelity. Wright and Takanaga in 2018 conducted a meta-analysis of research done on heterosexual women about this context, and it discovered that those who perceived their partner consume pornography reported lower sexual, relational, and body satisfaction outcomes. Other evidence also suggests that it's men's pornography use in heterosexual relationships, but not women's, that causes these negative effects and leads to decreased relational and sexual satisfaction for both partners. Previous research also indicates that heterosexual women can report feeling jealous and also inadequate because of their partner's pornography use, which can damage their self-esteem and also negatively impact kind of the overall relational quality. So the dependent variables that I was really curious to investigate were emotional jealousy and also perceptions of infidelity. So romantic jealousy is both internal and external, and it's a response to a rival to the relationship, a threat in some way. And typically scholars investigate jealousy in 3 different ways. So first is cognitive jealousy, or those suspicious thoughts that we have. Second is the emotional jealousy component, which is the feelings that we experience. And then third is behavioral jealousy, where we're responding to a jealousy situation. For the purpose of this study, we honed in on emotional jealousy, which is an affect blend of fear, sadness, and anger. The second dependent variable was infidelity. So infidelity is conceptualized as your partner forming an emotional or sexual relationship with a rival to the relationship and interacting with them in some capacity, which can provoke experiences of jealousy among romantic partners, although it's important to note that these are distinct constructs. So they can be related, but I can experience jealousy without there being infidelity, and infidelity can occur without me experiencing jealousy. So that leads to the independent variables coming last, because we experimentally manipulated them. So I wanted to manipulate perceptions of a partner's emotional attraction to a specific porn star, and then partner's ability to socially interact with a porn star. So those were our 2 factors. So how exactly does that relate to parasocial romantic relationships, you may be wondering? Well, results from Schneier and Adams' 2018 study suggest that parasocial romantic relationships, so like a celebrity crush or a TV star crush, can be perceived as infidelity by partners, though less so than offline or cyber infidelity. And then additional research done by Adam in 2019 suggests that parasocial infidelity is experienced as infidelity in a similar way to a partner's pornography use, so it was kind of on the same plane. So I wanted to merge those two ideas together and be like, well, what if my partner has a parasocial romantic relationship with a porn star, and kind of investigate that. So that leads into our hypotheses. H1, we postulated that individuals in the high emotional attraction compared to the low would experience greater experiences of jealousy and perceptions of infidelity. H2, women in the social interaction versus no interaction potential conditions would experience higher jealousy and perceptions of infidelity. And then RQ1 is that we were curious how emotional attraction and social interaction interacted together to provoke these outcomes. So our methodology, this was a 2x2 between subjects online experiment. And our sample we recruited consisted of 404 heterosexual women who self-identified in that way. You can see the age, demographic, and relationship status on the screen and their compensation. The stimulus materials I'm going to show you in just a second, but we used hypothetical scenarios / vignettes for this study. And participants had to read this scenario for a minimum of 10 seconds before they could proceed. So what we're looking at here are two conditions that have no interactivity. So the no interactivity conditions, we said, hey, your partner is consuming content from a specific porn actress, but they aren't commenting or interacting. They can't directly interact with her in any way. The high emotional attraction, we said, hey, they're emotionally attracted to her. They think that she's the perfect partner for him. He thinks that, he adores her. He wishes he could be with her. And that language was used from a scale that I'll tell you in a minute. And then in the not emotionally attracted condition, we said, hey, he's indifferent to her. He's just watching this content. He doesn't wish he could be with her or imagine her as a partner. In terms of the interactivity conditions, when a partner could socially interact, we said, okay, he's not only just looking at the content, but he has the potential to directly interact. So can comment, request specific comment, and message back and forth. Those were the 4 conditions. So the methodology, we used the perceived emotional attraction subscale from Tukachinsky's Parasocial Love Scale, which is a widely used scale in parasocial scholarship. So we used the language from that scale within the hypothetical scenario to manipulate emotional attraction. And then perceived interactivity is another popular parasocial interaction scale from Hartman and Goldhorn. So we tried to measure it or manipulate it in that way as well. Jealousy was measured based on Guerrero's adaptation of Pfeiffer and Wong's really popular jealousy scale, emotional jealousy scale. And then infidelity, we kind of looked at the research and definitions of infidelity to assess, okay, is this betrayal? Is it unfaithful? Is it infidelity? Okay, so our results. Well, first we wanted to ensure that our manipulations actually worked. That's a good thing to do. And they did, so that was incredible. That was exciting. So women in the high emotional attraction conditions perceived that to a greater degree than in the low, so those were significantly different from each other. Same pattern with the social interaction potential, so good news, those scenarios worked, which gets into our actual results. So hypothesis 1A was supported. Women in the high emotional conditions did report more jealousy than in the low emotional conditions, and then H2A was also supported. So women who believed their partner had the potential to socially interact with this porn star reported more jealousy than women who were in the no social interaction potential condition. So this is just looking at the emotional jealousy effects right now. I'll show you infidelity in a second. So to answer the first part of our research question, the interaction between emotional attraction and interactivity was not significant with a p-value of 0.59. However, we did run some post-hoc omnibus tests with SEDAC correction, and that revealed significant mean differences across all conditions. In terms of the effect on perceptions of infidelity, we had some similar trends. So H1B was supported. Women in the high emotional conditions reported more perceptions of infidelity than in the low emotional conditions. And then H2B was also supported. So women who believed their partner had the potential to socially interact compared to those who didn't believe they could interact had more perceptions of infidelity. So to answer the last part of our research question, the interaction between emotional attraction and interactivity on infidelity, post-hoc comparisons revealed significant mean differences across all 4 conditions, and the nature of these interactions is contributory, given the effects are significant at all 4 levels, yet are larger at the lower levels of emotional attraction and smaller at the higher levels of high emotional attraction. We also wanted to establish construct validity of these effects on the manipulations on the outcomes, so we conducted moderated mediation tests as a post-hoc analysis. So we followed the rationale of O'Keefe and other common practices in psychological research, and these analyses helped us to ensure that the conceptual interpretation of the study results was that the emotional attraction was driving these effects. We wanted to ensure that that was what was really happening. And so what we saw is that the conditional effects of interactivity are significant at both levels of the moderator. However, the effects were stronger for the no interactivity condition than the interactivity condition, which suggests that the emotional attraction findings are robust. Okay, so some implications. On the practical side of things, I mean, obviously it's like a partner's pornography use can be considered jealousy inciting and also infidelity. And so I think that future scholarship, especially qualitative scholarship, should investigate, are couples talking about this? How are they having these conversations? And especially with the advent of platforms like OnlyFans, and we're kind of in a new territory here and even moving towards AI and those kinds of things. What does that look like when it feels more personalized? Some theoretical implications, we think that this contributes to the field by, illustrating that parasocial romantic relationships, conceptually could be formed with these porn stars. So it would be good to see if men are actually forming these parasocial romantic relationships, but it seems like women are affected by them. These findings also add nuance to the pornography effects literature and an experimental design as well. Some future directions, I think it's important to investigate non-amicable parasocial relationships, so animosity towards a certain figure, media figure. And in this case, I think it'd be interesting to investigate, okay, I mentioned Bella Danger in the beginning. Do women have animosity towards Bella Danger? Do they have a negative parasocial relationship with her? Or last year's top porn star was Lana Rhoades, same kind of idea, right? And then I also think it's important to continue adding nuance to the pornography effects literature. And so in my dissertation work, I'm investigating the way women respond by manipulating facial attractiveness and body size of porn stars to see if it's the porn characteristics, their partner's porn characteristics that matter, or is it just general porn use? So I'm curious to go in that direction. So thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed presenting this.